Yes then YouTube, we are back with another custom tactics video of a formation that was very good last year, and guess what, it's amazing this year. That of course is the 5-2-1-2. So without any further ado, let's get straight into the tactics.
For your cheapest and most reliable place to buy FC24 coins, check out MMOEXP.com, link is down in the description below. Use the code WOLF at the checkout for 5% off your order.
But before we get into the tactics YouTube, please drop this video a like for me, and if you can hit that subscribe button to my channel. We are well on the way to 30,000 subscribers, so if you can hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video of mine every single day, that would mean the world to me. So you are going to want to use balanced on the defensive style, but one thing I will say, and I'm going to say this quite proudly, pressure on heavy touch, especially when using a 5 at the back formation, is good. Believe you me, it definitely is good and a viable option. Remember, in a lot of my custom tactics videos recently, I've been saying that I'm really thinking pressure on heavy touch will be good and can be good at certain aspects of the game. The 5-2-1-2 is one of them aspects, so definitely maybe give pressure on heavy touch a go. Me though, I really do love balance. A balanced style where your team presses the ball to the middle of the pitch and your team shape is neutral. I just like to be in control of where and when my team presses the ball. I kind of don't want to feel like I'm shoehorned into using a certain pressure on heavy touch and getting the press all the time if I don't want it. I like to just be in control, that if I want to press, I can. If I don't, I don't. So that's why I'm using balance. The defensive width in the 5-2-1-2 is only down to 45. So remember, I always do go a little bit more narrow than I do normally go, than the preset 50, should I say. I just like when my whole team is more compact and more narrow than it normally is. I just think that we are harder to break down. And my spreadsheet that I do for my custom tactics backs that up. We are harder to break down when we are using a more narrow width. I just think there's less space for our opponent to pick up in. So for example, when we are using a lower width, or a lower defensive width, should I say, our left wing back will be more tighter to our left centre back, vice versa on the right hand side as well, and just our whole back 5 or back 4, whichever formation we are using, is just a lot more narrow with less gaps. So when there's less gaps to exploit, my opponent isn't going to have as much joy. The defensive depth, you guessed it, there is two options. Option number one is the option that has been around for many weeks now. That is the 71 depth. I'm going to be honest with you, YouTube. I use it in all of my formations at this moment in time. The reason being, it is very effective, very OP. Now, what 71 depth does do, if any of you don't know, if you've been living under a rock or you just don't know what 71 depth does at the moment, it automatically offside traps for you, so your team will be higher at the pitch, and it automatically presses for you without draining your stamina. So it's super effective, super OP, super broken. I do suspect that it is probably going to get patched soon, but with EA, I don't really know, right? So that's option one and the option I'm using. So balanced on the defensive style, 45 on the defensive width with 71 depth. If you're not interested in the automatic offside trap and the automatic presses, because you know some of you might not, even though it is super effective and definitely something which I feel like you should do, some of you won't be interested in it, and you won't be. If you're not, I would recommend 60 depth. Now, the reason I recommend 60 and not my normal 55 is the fact we are using a normal a 5 at the back and not a 4 at the back. So we can afford to be a little bit more aggressive with our defending anyway, because when we're using a back 5, we have 5 defenders anyway. So we just have more players at the back, less gaps for our opponent to exploit. So we can afford to be a little bit more aggressive with the defensive depth. So that's why I would recommend balanced 45 and 60. But for me though, YouTube, balanced 45 and 71. The offense, of course, yeah, you guessed it. Yeah, balanced higher passing. Not going to go into any detail on that. Yeah, it's the most effective, and it probably will be all year again. Pretty much. The offensive width though, I do make it a little bit more narrow, so I do go down to 45. The reason being, I really like where my left wing back and my right wing back, should I say, that is a tongue twister by the way. I really like where they are when I make it a little bit more narrow. I feel like they're closer to my strikers, and it does give me more passing options and passing lanes in the attacking third, because the whole point of a 5 at the back is that it's amazing defensively, but then you lose a bit going forward. But you don't if you make it a little bit more narrow, because you'll see what I do with some player instructions in a minute. So that's why I use the 45 offensive width. Players in the box, of course, is going to be 7. More players that we have in the box, according to my spreadsheet and according to just common sense as well, the more likely we are to score a goal. It's pretty obvious when you think about it, isn't it, YouTube? You know, the more players in the box, the more likely we are to score a goal. It's actually very simple when you think about it. Like, very simple. 2 corners and 2 free kicks. Stops us getting counter-attacked on from our own corners and 2 free kicks. Again, pretty simple. So, custom tactics done. Let's get into the player instructions. So, one thing I would say with the 5-2-1-2 YouTube is that you can afford to play attackers in positions where you probably wouldn't think they're usable. So, you can definitely use an attacker in the right wing back position. So, you see I'm using my informed Jeremy Doku on the RTG. And you can definitely have a more attack-minded central midfielder as well. The cam and 2 strikers are pretty obvious. So, a little bit of a tip there with the 5 at the back. You can use attackers without realising it. So, the 2 strikers, stay central and get in behind. Pretty obvious. I just did a really big stutter there, didn't I? Pretty obvious. What an idiot. Anyway, pretty obvious. They're on exactly the same custom tactics on every single formation. It's your absolute bread and butter this year. Stay central and get in behind. The stay central with the 5-2-1-2, I think is very important because of what we have our left wing back and our right wing back on. We kind of don't really need our strikers to be venturing out wide anyway because we're going to get the width with the fullback. So it's a little bit of an important point there to maybe definitely have them on stay central. The getting behind, of course, I want them making runs in behind because even if I don't play the ball to them as they're making runs in behind, it does then create up a lot of space for our cam to operate in. And that brings us nicely onto the cam. I leave the cam on basic defense support, but I do have the cam on getting to the box for cross. The getting to the box for cross is so key and so important. It just gives us that added dimension of extra fluidity, a little bit of unpredictability in the attacking third when we are attacking, and having the cam get into the box for cross just gives us more players in the box. And like I said earlier on in the video, the more players that we have in the box, more likely we are to score a goal. It's actually very simple when you break it down and think about it. Like very simple. I'm surprised that more people don't use it. So definitely something that I feel like you should use. And having the cam on getting to the box does make us score more goals, 100%. The 2 central midfielders, you're going to want to have the more defensive-minded midfielder that you've got on stay back while attacking and cover centre. So for me, that's my informed Jude Bellingham. That is the midfielder that is on stay back while attacking and cover centre. The more attack-minded midfielder, you're going to want to leave them on balanced attack and cover centre. So, the more attack-minded midfielder, so my right centre mid, my Musiala, they will venture forward a little bit. They won't completely YOLO, they won't go right up to the 2 strikers, but they will get into the box a little bit. They will help out in the attacking third and just give us a little bit more of the offensive presence that we need when we're using a 5 at the back formation. We don't really need 2 of them central midfielders staying back. Like, we don't. Trust me, we don't. And the 2 wing backs, so the right wing back and the left wing back, they are both on join the attack and overlap. So our left wing back and our right wing back, as soon as we get the ball, we'll make them runs up to the pitch, right up alongside my left striker and my right striker there. So they will provide the width. We really need them to provide the width, actually. Like, it's really needed when we're using a 5 at the back. And with how OP and meta byline abuse is, this is what makes the 5-2-1-2 an unbelievable formation at the moment because of how OP and broken the byline meta is. So definitely something I feel like you should use. So join the attack and overlap on both my wing backs. All 3 of my centre-backs, I don't touch them, so they're just on the default. And last but not least, my goalkeeper is on comes for crosses and sweeper keeper. And that right there is a brand new formation and custom tactics video for you guys on EAFC24, should I say, the 5-2-1-2. Please drop this video a like for me. Drop a comment down below. And if you can hit that subscribe button to my channel, that would mean the world to me. Thank you for watching. Remember, spread the love and positivity. PMA, positive mental attitude. Peace out. One love.